Hi. Hopefully you can hear me because I'm using my new cell phone and I can't use um my mic with it because it doesn't have the plug for it. It's one of those that plugs into the phone. I didn't think about that when I bought this, but oh well. Um, so I'm taking a break from doing the cancer vlogs because I haven't had an appointment in a while. So I'll talk about that in another one. I'm going to read something that I wrote mm, probably 10 years ago, I think. I used to journal and write a lot, and I kind of stopped for a while, but this past year I started um, doing it again. I'm not going to read anything current. I'm going to read from like I said, 10 years ago. But it pertains to something that I'm currently going through, and I just happened to find it a couple of days ago. Um, Kind of weird, right? How things happen like that. Um, I do have another channel that I share writings and journal entries and things that I don't intend to share that link because it's personal and it's kind of it's kind of fun having just people who don't know me stumble upon it. This I will share here because it's not personal or anything, but this it's about being ignored by somebody, and that's kind of a current issue for me. And it's been about a week, and I'm not doing well. Like it's not fun. So if you've ever been ignored by somebody, or you feel like you're being ignored or pushed away or whatever, maybe you can identify with some of what I wrote. The person who this is an issue with lives far away. It's easier for them to continue ignoring me because they don't live here. And, when everything is online or through text or the phone, um, if you want to ignore someone, pretty easy to do. I can't run into them. This is someone that I care about a lot, and they're not playing a game. They're going through some really serious and difficult things. So it's not like they're playing games with me. They're going through a lot, but because they're distancing themselves, um, we usually talk like every day, every other day. So the week of not having contact for whatever reason, I have my suspicions. Um, but you shouldn't assume things, right? Uh, yeah, so they're not like playing games. It's nothing like that. They're just going through a lot. And I'm on the receiving end of being, you know, left out, or not left out, but feeling ignored. So, not used to that from them. Um, and it's actually kind of concerning to me that they're doing that. But I'm just hoping that they're okay. And yeah, I have to hope, trust they're okay because I have no way to get a hold. I don't know anyone that they know, so I can't ask somebody else to give me an idea of how they're doing. So, um, but I wrote some from the past, but a lot of I only skimmed through it. I didn't read it all, but I knew right away, like, oh, I remember writing this, and I think this is like perfect timing for me to find this, and I figured I'd share it. Maybe some of you might um, have experienced it before, maybe identify with some of the things. It's long. Sorry. Um, I'm tired. Um, like I said, the past week I've been ignored, and I'm not handling it well at all. I'm not sleeping. Um, I'm not eating, along with my other stuff that I'm dealing with my own stuff. This is concerning me, and I had a uh, kind of a crazy weekend because of it. Not normally like me because I'm not doing well. So I've been journaling. I'm gonna journal, and I think I'll do that instead of having another crazy weekend. Yeah, I'm a little too old for that. It takes a while to recover, so I'm sleep deprived. I'm not eating. I don't. Uh, I look tired because I am tired. So what I'm gonna read, the person that I'm referring to. Sometimes I watch my channel. Um, so if you are watching, um, remember this is written 10 years ago. It's not written about you. So don't take it personally, please. Um, but I figured some of the things that when I skimmed through it, it felt like how I feel right now. So um, remember, this is not about you. I'm gonna put something over the screen so you all don't have to sit and watch me read from a page because like it's kind of boring. Um, and yeah, so here we go. When someone ignores you, it reveals so much more than just a lack of response. It uncovers their true character. It's painful, no doubt about it. When someone deliberately chooses silence over open communication, it sends a clear signal about how they value the relationship, or rather, how much they don't. The silence is loud. It shows you that perhaps their intentions or commitment weren't what you once believed them to be. True character isn't what someone shows you when things were going smoothly. It's how they treat you when they're not getting their way or when emotions get tense. Now, what does it tell you about someone who retreats into silence rather than facing their situations head on? It tells you they're not equipped, or maybe not even willing, to handle the complexities of a genuine connection relationships. Real ones require courage. The courage to address issues, the courage to admit fault, and the courage to confront uncomfortable feelings. When someone's response to discomfort is to ignore, it shows a side of them that you may not have seen before. A side that isn't prepared to deal with depth or honesty. Discovering someone's true character can be heartbreaking, especially when you held them in high regard or thought they cared as deeply as you did. But once you see this truth, it's like a veil lifted. It's clarity, a difficult clarity, but a necessary one. It gives you a chance to see things for what they truly are, to recognize who they are beyond the charm, beyond the words sometimes. Sometimes the silence tells you more about them than any words ever could. Let's be honest, realizing someone isn't who you thought they were can feel like a betrayal. But would you rather live in the comfort of illusion, or would you rather confront the reality? As painful as it may be, knowing the truth is empowering. It allows you to free yourself from false expectations. to stop waiting for them to be the person you wanted them to be, and to see them as they really are. From this place of understanding, you can make choices that are in alignment with your own growth and well-being. You can decide fully informed whether to continue investing in this person or to distance yourself and seek connections that honor your worth. There's power in knowing who truly is, even if it's not what you hope for. In the end, that silence is a message that set you free. When someone ignores you, it's easy to think of it as rejection, to feel that sinking feeling that maybe you're not enough or somehow unworthy of their attention. But what if you flip this perspective? What if instead of focusing on what they're doing and not doing, you looked at what it revealed about our own inner strength, our own independence? See, when someone pulls away, it's a moment that challenges us to stand on our own 2 feet emotionally. It's a reminder that our value doesn't come from their acknowledgement, but from within. This experience, as painful as it might be, actually helps us uncover our own resilience. Sometimes we get so caught up in others' opinions and wanting their validation that we forget we don't actually need it. Ignorance from others can prompt us to look inward and realize that our worth is independent on anyone's response to us. In fact, the very act of being ignored can propel us to build a stronger, more unshakable foundation of self-worth. There's a certain strength that comes from realizing you don't need someone else's validation to feel whole. When they ignore you, it's not a reflection of your value. It's often just a reflection of where they are emotionally. Maybe they're not ready for open, genuine communication. Maybe they lack the maturity to handle complex emotions. But that's on them. Meanwhile, you have the opportunity to grow, to find that wall of strength that says, I am complete as I am with or without their attention. And here's the beauty of this perspective shift. When you stop looking to others for validation, you naturally become more independent, more centered. You start radiating a quiet confidence that doesn't need to be fed by external sources. You become comfortable in your own skin. So if someone ignores you, instead of feeling small, see it as a chance to grow stronger, to be reminded of your own power. This experience can change you. The next time you face a similar situation, you'll remember that your worth is enough for debate based on someone else's behavior. You'll stand a little taller, knowing that you're grounded in your own self-respect and resilience. You found a strength that can't be shaken by someone's silence or indifference. That strength is yours to keep. And it's the kind of strength that attracts only the most genuine connections in your life. When someone ignores you, it's often not about you at all. This can be hard to accept, especially when you're caught up in the feelings of rejection or hurt. But sometimes their distance is more of a reflection of their own issues than anything you did or didn't do. People often pull away when they're dealing with their own insecurities, their own doubts, or their own inability to communicate openly. Maybe they don't know how to handle their feelings. Maybe they're not emotionally available. Whatever the reason, it's crucial to remember that their actions are often rooted in their own inner struggles, not a verdict on your value. When we understand that someone's behavior is usually more about them than about us, it gives us a kind of emotional freedom. We don't have to take their silence or their distance personally. Instead, we can step back and realize that they're likely dealing with something we may never fully understand. Their actions might come from a place of fear, confusion, or even immaturity. And once you see this, you'll realize that you don't need to internalize their actions or let them dictate how you feel about yourself. In situations like these, taking a step back allows you to focus on yourself rather than letting their behavior define you. You realize that you don't have to change yourself or go chasing their approval. Instead, this is the time for reflection, for looking inward. Ask yourself, why does this situation affect me so much? What can I learn from? How can I come out of it stronger with more self assurance? These questions help you grow even in moments of pain or confusion. When we're ignored, it can feel like a loss, but it's really an opportunity. It's a chance to let go of the need for external validation and to find peace and acceptance within ourselves. This is where true confidence comes from, knowing that you're fine as you are, regardless of someone else's attention or acknowledgement. When you reach this point, you find that the actions of others start to have less and less of an impact on your own sense of worth. You stand tall, rooted in the understanding that you're complete on your own. So next time you feel hurt by someone's silence, remind yourself that it's not necessarily about you. Let them deal with their own issues while you take the opportunity to strengthen your own sense of self. You're not defined by how others treat you. You're defined by the resilience you build in response to these moments. And that's the kind of inner strength that no one can take away from you. Sometimes when someone ignores you, it's life's way of giving you the space you need to realign with your own path, to focus on your own journey without distractions. We often get caught up in relationships or connections where we lose a bit of ourselves, where we start to compromise our values, our goals, or our sense of who we are just to keep someone else close. This is especially true when we're afraid of being alone, afraid of losing someone we think we need. But when someone ignores you, it forces you to take a step back and evaluate. Am I really walking in the right direction that's right for me? Am I holding on to something or someone out of fear rather than purpose? This distancing is an opportunity, a moment to breathe, to see things clearly without the influence of someone else's needs or opinions. It allows you to reconnect with your own values and aspirations, to remember what it is you're working towards in life. Instead of being weighed down by someone who's half present or only there when it's convenient for them, you get the chance to refocus on yourself. This is as selfish as an essential, because only when you're grounded in your own purpose can you build genuine, healthy relationships with others. You become a person who attracts connections that enhance your life, rather than those that drain your energy or pull you away from what's truly important. When we don't have the courage to walk away from situations that don't serve us, life sometimes steps in and does it for us. It's a reminder that we don't need to chase anyone who isn't meant to stay. Their absence isn't a rejection of you, it's an opening, a way for you to realign with people and opportunities that actually contribute to your growth. When you let go of someone who isn't valuing you, you create space for someone who will. If you find yourself alone in that space for a while, embrace it. Use that time to work on your dreams, to cultivate your skills, to become more the person you were meant to be. In the end, when someone ignores you, they may be unknowingly giving you a gift. They're freeing up your energy, your attention, and your heart to pour into the things, the people that will truly uplift you. And that's the perspective that changes everything. Instead of feeling abandoned or unwanted, you start to feel grateful for the chance to strengthen your relationship within yourself and to invite better connections into your life. So when you're faced with a silence or distance from someone, shift your perspective. Don't see it as a door closing on you, but as a door opening for you. A door to a better version of yourself, to stronger relationships, to a life that resonates deeply with who you are and what you truly want. When someone ignores you, it can be a tough pill to swallow. But here's the thing, sometimes that silence from them is a powerful signal that you've outgrown that relationship. It's like nudging you towards what's next, showing you that maybe, just maybe, you've evolved to a place where that connection no longer fits. It's like wearing a pair of shoes that used to be comfortable, but are now a bit too tight. You're just not the same person who first stepped into that relationship. We often resist this idea because we're creatures of habit. We cling to what is familiar to us, to people who have been in our lives for a while, even if we started walking different paths. Maybe your growth, your ambitions, your values, or even the kind of peace you're seeking have taken you in a different direction. It's not a bad thing outgrowing people. It isn't about thinking you're better than them. It's about recognizing that you're on a journey. Not everyone can or will come along for the entire ride. Silence from them, it's like an invitation to assess where you stand. Are you still aligned with their energy, their values, their goals, or have you shifted and grown and expanded in ways that have changed what you need from your connections? Ignoring you may not be something they consciously chose as a way to tell you this, but it's a natural consequence of growth when you're moving toward different destinations. Instead of being hurt by, think of it as a natural pruning process. Just like a tree grows stronger by shedding leaves that no longer serve it, you grow by letting go of connections that can sustain your journey. When you start to see their silence as a sign of your own growth, it becomes empowering. Suddenly, it's less about them rejecting you and more about you evolving into someone who needs and deserves relationships that truly resonate. It's not about staying in the same place out of loyalty or comfort. It's about surrounding yourself with people who can meet you where you are, who inspire you, who challenge you, and who appreciate your growth. And that might mean letting go of some people along the way. So if you feel a distance growing between you and someone else, recognize that it might not be a bad thing. They're not ignoring you because there's something wrong with you. It may simply be because your paths are divergent. And in that divergence lies the freedom to grow fully into who you're really meant to be without limitations or compromises. Embrace this as part of your journey towards becoming your truest self, surrounded by people who truly belong with you on that path. When someone ignores you, it forces you into a moment of introspection, a chance to look inward and examine what truly matters to you. Often, it's when we're left in silence that we start hearing ourselves more clearly. Dapsus gives you space to reflect on your own values, desires, and needs without the noise and influence of someone else's perspective, clogging your vision. It's a moment to ask yourself, who am I without their validation? What do I really want out of this relationship and more broadly, out of my own life? This period of silence can become one of the most transformative moments in your life if you let it. Instead of trying to fill the void with distractions or letting it be a source of hurt, use it as an opportunity to understand what makes you feel whole and fulfilled. Maybe you realizing you've been compromising too much of yourself to fit into their world, or seeking approval in places where you weren't fully valued. Their absence can help you see what you've been settling for, less than what you truly deserve. And that's a powerful realization. It's a gift in a sense, because it's only when we understand what we don't want that we can get clear of what we do want. Being ignored or often stirs up our old insecurities, past wounds, or fears of being alone. But in facing those emotions, you're strengthening yourself from the inside out. You start to notice patterns. Maybe you've been repeating the same mistakes in relationships, putting others' needs above your own, or seeking external validation rather than valuing yourself first. These revelations are uncomfortable, but they're also liberating. It's like cleaning out a closet. You have to pull everything out to see what's been tucked away, to let go of what no longer serves you, and to make space for something new. This reflection period is about more than just them ignoring you. It's about taking a good, honest look at yourself, confronting the areas where you need to grow, and embracing the person you're becoming. It's about making peace with yourself and recognizing that you are complete, with or without them. Once you reach this level of self-acceptance, the opinions or actions of others start to matter a lot less. You realize that being ignored doesn't diminish your worth. Instead, it's their loss if they can't see the value you bring. So let this silence be a period of self discovery. Get to know the person who remains when no one else is around, because that's the most authentic version of yourself. And when you understand and love that version of you, you attract people who appreciate you for who you are, not for what you can give or how well you can fit into their life. In the end, you come out stronger, self aware, and ready to build connections that are truly grounded in mutual respect and understanding. When someone ignores you, it's often a wake up call, a sign that you need to take a step back and focus on the bigger picture of your own journey. The silence becomes a reminder that life is too short to dwell on people who don't prioritize you or see your value. It's a push, sometimes an uncomfortable one, to shift your energy back to what matters most: your growth, your goals, and the things that bring you true fulfillment to your life. In a way, it's an opportunity to reclaim your time and energy. Think about it. How much of your mental and emotional energy is wrapped up in wondering why they're ignoring you? How many moments of self doubt, overthinking have you had because of someone else's actions? When we let go of this focus on why someone isn't responding or caring in the way we want, we free ourselves to pursue the things that actually nourish us. Their indifference might be the very thing that liberates you, allowing you to channel your focus into building the life you want, with or without their presence. Often, when someone pulls away, it's easy to feel like you're left behind, but the truth is, you're simply being redirected to a path that serves you better. Maybe you've been putting others' opinions ahead of your own ambitions or delaying your dreams because you're too invested in trying to make things work with someone who's reciprocating that same energy. This is your chance to break that cycle. Let that absence be the space you need to recalibrate, to shift your focus to what's truly important, and to stop investing in one sided connections. This time, as painful as it might feel, is an invitation to make choices that align with your own purpose. Picture yourself channeling all that energy, that care, that attention that you might have been given to someone else back into your own life. Imagine how much progress you could make, how much closer you could get to your own dreams if you took all that energy and put it towards your own growth. Letting go of the need for someone else's acknowledgement or validations opens up new doors. It allows you to find strength and satisfaction within yourself, and that's something that no one can ever take away from you. And here's the real beauty: when you begin to focus on yourself, when you pour your energy into the things you love and the dreams you want to achieve, people notice. You radiate the different kind of confidence, an unshakable peace that doesn't rely on anyone else's approval. You become magnetic because you're no longer looking for validation outside of yourself. So if they come back, it won't be because you chased them or needed them. It will be because you've grown, because you've chosen to walk a path that now they realize they want to be a part of. In the end, you realize that their silence, their distance was a gift. It was a catalyst for you to become more of who you were always meant to be. You're no longer waiting for anyone to recognize your worth. You know it. You live it, and you create a life that reflects it every single day. And that is where true freedom and fulfillment begin. When someone ignores you, it can feel like an unanswered question, one that loops endlessly in your mind. You might find yourself thinking over every word you said, every gesture you made, and still come up empty handed. But their silence is often a sign that something deeper is at play, a sign that perhaps it's time to reevaluate the dynamics of the connection and recognize the imbalance it may hold. In relationships, whether personal, professional, genuine connections are built on mutual respect, open communication, and an honest exchange of feelings. When someone chooses to ignore you, it's often because they don't see the connection as essential as you might, and that realization stings. But it's also liberating. It frees you from holding on to an illusion, from chasing after someone who isn't willing to match your level of investment or care. It's a painful but important truth to acknowledge, and what you do, it allows you to take back control of your own heart and energy. Sometimes we find ourselves stuck in this cycle of overthinking, wondering if their silence is our fault, if we did something wrong, if we just do one more thing to fix it. But what if instead of carrying the weight of the absence, you look inward and ask yourself, what is this experience teaching me? Because often when someone steps back, it gives you the space to step up into your own life, into your own worth, into relationships that truly value you. There's a unique power that comes with realizing you don't need to chase anyone. Relationships be reciprocal. They should be spaces where you both feel seen and heard and respected. When someone ignores you, it's a moment to acknowledge that you are worthy of that kind of respect. It's a reminder to focus on the connections that bring out the best in you, the ones that leave you feeling uplifted, rather than questioning your own value. By choosing not to dwell on their silence, by refusing to let it hold you back, you step into a place of strength. You remind yourself that you deserve relationships that are clear, honest, and supportive. And when you start expecting that for yourself, when you truly believe that you're worthy of those kinds of connections, you naturally attract people who see your value, who don't leave you wondering, who don't let silence speak where words are needed. So let go of the need to interpret every silence, every non response as something that defines you. Instead, let it be an opportunity to reconnect with yourself, to put that energy back into nurturing your own journey. Use this time to build a life so fulfilling that you're not waiting on anyone else to complete it. Embrace the quiet that their silence has given you. Fill it with things that bring you joy, with pursuits that remind you of your own strength, and with relationships that reflect the love and care you have to offer. When you do this, you begin to move forward with a new kind of confidence, one that doesn't rely on someone else's acknowledgement. You're no longer waiting on anyone to fill the gaps in your life. And in that place of fullness, you find that those who truly value you will never leave you, questioning their presence or their care. You'll know the difference, and you'll choose connections that enrich your life rather than leave you wanting. That's the real power of embracing your own worth in the face of someone else's silence. When someone ignores you, it's easy to focus on the emptiness they've left behind. The silence can feel like a void, amplifying every insecurity, every doubt you may have about your worth. But in that silence, there's an invitation, a chance to look beyond their absence and realize that sometimes their rejection is exactly what you need to step into a greater sense of self respect and personal growth. But when you're focused on someone who isn't reciprocating your energy, it can become a distraction. It pulls you away from your purpose, from the people who truly value you, and from the goals that are waiting for your attention. A silence, that choice to ignore, actually clears the path. It removes the weight you didn't realize you were carrying, opens up the space for you to realign your focus on the things that bring you joy, that nurture your soul, and that move you closer to your true potential. Sometimes we feel that if we could just make them see us, make them realize what they're missing, we would feel validated. But here's the truth: validation doesn't come from someone else's acknowledgement, it comes from within, and when someone ignores you, it's a moment to turn inward and find that validation for yourself. Ask yourself what it is that you want, what it is that truly makes you feel fulfilled, outside of anyone else's opinion or approval. When you begin to nurture that part of yourself, you find a strength that No one's silence can diminish. This is also a chance to cultivate gratitude for the relationships and opportunities that truly matter. When you focus on the people who support you, the activities that energize you, and the goals that excite you, you build a life that feels abundant and meaningful. It becomes a life that isn't dependent on someone else's attention. And ironically, when you reach that level of self contentment, you often find that others are drawn to your energy, not because you're chasing them, but because you're living with purpose and confidence. It's easy to feel hurt or rejected. When you shift your mindset, you realize their absence is simply part of your redirection. It's guiding you away from places that weren't meant for you and moving you closer to the ones that are. And as you walk down that new path, with each step you take, becoming stronger, more self assured, more aligned with your purpose, embrace this opportunity to grow, to focus on what is truly meaningful, and to let go of anyone who doesn't see your worth. In the end, you realize that their silence, instead of leaving you feeling empty, has actually left you free. Free to pursue what truly matters. Free to attract connections that respect and uplift you. Free to live fully, with or without them. When someone chooses to ignore you, it's crucial to recognize that their actions often speak more about them than they do about you. People can sometimes project their own insecurities, fears, or issues onto those around them. Silence or neglect might stem from their struggles, not a reflection of your own value or worthiness. Understanding this can be a powerful realization that liberates you from the burden of the indifference. You see, when individuals ignore us, they can evoke feelings of inadequacy and self doubt. We start questioning our actions, our words, and even our very existence. We wonder if we did something wrong, or if we are somehow less deserving of attention or affection. But what we often overlook is their behavior may be rooted in their own personal experience, issues they're wrestling with that have nothing to do with us. For instance, consider someone who is dealing with their own emotional turmoil. Perhaps they're battling anxiety, depression, or personal crisis. Their inability to engage or reciprocate can stem from a place of pain. They may not know how to connect, or they may feel overwhelmed by their own feelings. In such cases, it's essential to differentiate between their struggling your self worth. Their choice to ignore you doesn't diminish your value, it simply highlights their own limitations in that moment. Moreover, this understands you to allows you to cultivate empathy instead of resentment. Instead of feeling hurt or angry, you can approach a situation with compassion. You can recognize that everyone has their battles, and sometimes people retreat into silence as a way to cope. This perspective can help you release the emotional grip that their silence has on you. Additionally, when you let go of the need for their acknowledgement, you create space for healthier connections. Instead of chasing after someone who isn't present, you can redirect your energy towards relationships that nurture and uplift you. Surrounding yourself with those who appreciate and recognize your worth can create a positive feedback loop, reinforcing your value in ways that an indifferent person never could. It's also important to acknowledge that their silence might serve as a lesson, teaching you about boundaries and the importance of mutual respect in relationships. If someone is unwilling to engage with you, it can be a sign that this relationship may not be the healthiest for you. It's an opportunity to reassess the dynamics in your life and to prioritize connections that are reciprocal and enriched. In this journey of self discovery and emotional growth, you'll find that what truly matters is not how others perceive you, but how you perceive yourself. Embrace the strength that comes from recognizing your inherent worth, independent and external validation. As you foster a deeper understanding of yourself, the opinions of those who choose to ignore you will hold less power over your emotional landscape. Ultimately, remember, you have the power to choose how you respond to their silence. Instead of allowing it to diminish you, let it inspire you to rise above and to seek out those who appreciate your light and to invest in your personal growth. Their choice to ignore you is not your end. It's a redirection towards a more fulfilling path, rich with potential and possibility. Embrace it as watch as you flourish in your own right.